the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here. On that being said, our Sunday morning tradition continues on into our 12th season, and welcome into a week that's full of a lot of news that we're going to be getting to. Lots of things that we're going to talk about if and when we can get Cuervo in. Supposedly, he said 11 o'clock was the right time, so went ahead and set up the show. Hopefully, he will be in here soon as we get going. Just really quick, as far as a recap, just to let everybody know about last night. How about SOAR Championship Wrestling, as well as the OIWA puts on a great show last night at the Dallas Elks Lodge that I'm a part of and do commentary for. It was Enter the Diamond Queen. Lots of good stuff that happened there, guys. Make sure you check out SOAR Championship Wrestling and the OIWA as we are moving forward, guys. Watch out for 2021 and 2022 for the OIWA and SOAR Championship Wrestling. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check it out, whether it's in Dallas, whether it is Memphis, whether it is in Little Rock, whether it is wherever the OIWA are associated, Cleburne, Texas, also Carrollton, lots of places that are affiliated with the OIWA. So make sure you get on over there. Lots of fun. And you know, feeling the effects of that, I got home and I was jarred and did not get to bed until real late, woke up real early just to get ready for the show. And that's just one of the things that we do here as far as the Couch Potato Sports Show. You know, Sonny will hit the nap a little bit later if need be. So hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everybody is set and ready to go, as we're going to be talking a lot of things here within the sports world, lots of things within the NFL, lots of things within the NBA, and things that are going on with that. And we'll take a look at some of the standings and a lot of things that are going on. In fact, let's start with the standings in the NBA, because that's some of the sports that are going on. Some news in there. We'll get to all that as well. And also hockey going on. We'll talk maybe a little bit of hockey depending on what's going on. But when you look at what's happening as far as the divisions are concerned in the NBA, Philadelphia on top. Well, actually, I don't like looking at the divisions. They mean absolutely nothing. You need to be top 8 in order to make the playoffs. Okay, so that's where we're at. So keep your eye up on that top 8 within the conferences. Right now, Philadelphia over in the Eastern Conference is on top. Behind them are the Brooklyn Nets. Half game separates those. Milwaukee, 2 games back of Philadelphia. Boston in 4th place with 19-17 records, 5 games back. New York Knickerbockers, 19-18, just a little bit over 500. And they're 5 games back. And Miami, 18-18 at 500, 6 games back. 17-18 are the Charlotte Hornets. They're 6.5 back. And the Toronto Raptors, 17-19. They're 7 games back. Now, here's the sad part about this, okay? And I'll get to the differences in a moment. But right now, if you pick the top 8, you'd have a team that is, in fact, 2 teams that are below 500, 1 at 500, and 1 just above 500, and another one just a little bit. And that takes you all the way to 4th place. At 19-17, the Boston Celtics are 5 games back, but they are at .528 on the winning percentage. So 50, just a little bit over 50%. It's 2 games over 500. Sad. It only don't get it, and then it get a lot better. 22-14 are the Milwaukee Bucks. So from 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, you're talking about 500 basketball teams over in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. good, bad, or indifferent. It's not what you want to see, but it is early in the season. So I've got to be able to give these guys a break here early in the season, but I hate that because this is the time. If you're going to hop on and make a run fairly quickly, you need to get out of the gates really quick. And if you're a team that is a normal team that's not up there, I'll give you the example. The Knicks. The Knicks, just one game over 500. You need to get out because guess what? Miami, Charlotte, Toronto, Chicago, and Indiana, all right there within shooting distance of you. 2 games. And it don't get much better, with the guy that is the team that's in front of them. Of course, that being the Boston Celtics. 2 games over 500. It's pathetic. You want to run out there and kick it now. If you look at the Eastern Conference right now, as far as all the teams that are in it, the winning streak right now is 4. The best winning streak right now is 4 in the Eastern Conference, and that belongs to Boston. So they had to win 4 games to get to that 4th spot. But after that, there's no streaks out there. 2 games winning streaks. Philadelphia, Brooklyn is at 2. Atlanta in the 11th place at 2. That's it. No one's going on a streak, and this is the time. I mean, if you got to get out of the gates quick in the NBA. And if you want to be relevant, and if you want to get out there, you need to get those quick early wins, especially at this time of the season, because when you get at the midway section and you start moving towards the end of it, some of those games you're going to lose that you think that you should have been able to win, or you're in a game where you wish you could have won. It's a good thing you did well early. And right now in the Eastern Conference, you are just not getting that. Now, I'm not saying the Western Conference, as far as streaks are concerned, are great, but you got 2 teams with in the top 8 that have a 4-game winning streak. That's Phoenix. Phoenix just coming out of nowhere right now. Portland, they've won 3 in a row. Phoenix with 4-game winning streak. Can you believe that crap? 4-game winning streak for the Denver Nuggets, a 3-game winning streak for the Dallas Mavericks that are holding on to that 8th spot in the Western Conference. So what does that say a lot? Look at where Golden State is. They are number 9. They're on the outside looking in. Right now, Utah leads the Western Conference at a 27-9 record. Guys, that's just outstanding. That's going to get you a lot of places. The Phoenix Suns are 24-11, guys, which is unbelievable. Only 2.5 games out. Now, me being from the Phoenix area, we haven't had much to really cheer about as far as the Phoenix Suns are concerned. In fact, they have a 1-game lead over the Lakers. Lakers are 24-13. Phoenix is 24-11. The Lakers play a couple more games than them. Will that even out? We'll find out. But as of right now, Phoenix right there. And the Clips, 24-14. 21-14 for Portland in the 5th spot. Denver, 21-15 in the 6th spot. San Antonio, 18-14. And the Mavericks right now, 18-16. Every single team in the top 8 are doing better than 500 right now. And I will tell you straight out, as far as the NBA is concerned, they don't get a lot of looks, okay? I don't get a lot of looks from me, but I have been watching. Phoenix is a team that you've got to keep your eye on. Is that a streak? Is it going to go away? Will they die out? That's one of the things that I worry about as far as being a Phoenix Suns fan are concerned. And in the Western Conference, obviously, you got to look out for what LeBron James and the Lakers will be able to do here. Right now, 3.5 out. And the Utah Jazz up on top of this conference, I'm telling you right now, it's not something that was really, really expected. Especially the Denver Nuggets at 21-15. 21 and there's 6 games over 500. Normally a team that's not up there. San Antonio always keeping it in there, but of course, that situation there, team is not the same team that we've seen in the past. So it'll be real interesting to see where the San Antonio Spurs can continue doing what they're doing, because they're 4 games out of over 500 right now. So watch out for that. Golden State is the one that's kind of got, it's a Jekyll and Hyde team this year, as they're on the outside looking in on the in the 9th spot, needs to be in the 8th in order to make the playoffs. So if they ended the season right now, Golden State wouldn't be there. Golden State, though, has the capabilities of going on a win streak. But Phoenix with a 4-game winning streak, Portland with the 3 games, the Nuggets with a 4-game winning streak, and the Dallas Mavericks with 3. And all the top 8 over 500. Just good work as far as that conference is concerned. You can just see the difference in the conferences by the records. And listen, I'm not an NBA fan. Obviously, we do football, but I'm watching a lot of it now. And right now, the Lakers don't need to do anything differently, because what this basketball team does is that they don't worry about where they're kind of sitting here early within the season. They will go ahead and make a change, and they will get it all set and ready to go, and look out for the second half of this team. So you don't have to worry about the Lakers. I think pretty much the Lakers are. But the teams like Utah, the teams like, in reality, Portland, although I love me some Damian Lillard. Denver, as far as them being there. San Antonio and Dallas both. Teams that are out there. Hey, why Memphis is at 500, I don't know. Why Golden State is just 1 game over 500, I don't know. But what I want to talk about in reality, when you look at where these teams are and what kind of team that you have. Listen, guys, the Pelicans, a disgrace. New Orleans Pelicans, a disgrace. And they have the big guy there. So, obviously there's a lot more NBA to go. But this kind of gives you an idea of where they are right now. Will the team stack up and continue on? That's the big question. So what are we going to see from Philadelphia? What are we going to see from Brooklyn? Are they going to continue? Are Boston going to move up? Are the Knicks going to decide to play well in order to make the playoffs? All kinds of things. Brooklyn right now, only a half game out from Philadelphia. I kind of figured Brooklyn would take this conference. I really did. I think they will finish on top within this conference, followed by Philadelphia, or followed by Milwaukee and Philadelphia. When I was looking at the teams that were there, I expected Toronto to be higher than 8th. They're holding on to that last spot, but sooner or later they'll be there. But the rest of them, it's open market. And even a team that is bad as Orlando, who are 13-23, should have a shot to make the playoffs. Detroit Pistons right now, they're 10-26, and that whole story with getting their guy and doing the buyout and every kind of thing. This is a team that has already thrown in the towel, but guess what? They're only 8 games behind. Mark that. They are only 7 games behind that 7th spot. That's how bad that conference of basketball is in the Eastern Conference. Because when you're the Houston Rockets, who are obviously not the same team without James Harden and all that, they're 11-23. They're 11-23. They're 7 games out of that spot too. Good runs will it happen? I don't know. The Oklahoma City Thunder at 15-21. That's a team that you can look out for to maybe move up. Memphis Grizzlies also another team that you can look at to move up over in that conference of basketball. But right now, when you look at the whole conferences, the Eastern and the Western side, you got to go Western as far as obviously having the advantage, the better teams, the better records. Obviously, the NBA on the second half of this season will be really interesting. Right now, it's positioning. Teams that had the opportunity to get that position early, dropping the ball, not getting there. Some teams just, already phoning it in, a la the Houston Rockets. That's sad. Houston Rockets mailed in. I hate even thinking about that, but they've mailed in. Minnesota is always Minnesota. They're 7-29. It is what it is. But Golden State, watch out for them. Only one game over 500. And there, it should be really interesting to see where they will end up going. Will they be able to move up in there to where, obviously, I think they make the top 8. It could be around 6 or 7. But the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic, that guy has got some mad skills. Will he be able to keep him in there? And obviously the supporting cast there. Will they be able to keep in contention? Will they move up? Will we see the Dallas Mavericks actually a team that is a contender more so than a pretender? So the NBA is a really interesting watch now. Not that I have not been watching the games as of late. Now, obviously, if I'm out and about doing what I did last night, I didn't catch any of the games. And last night you saw Boston beat Toronto, get a 7-point victory. From there, the Clippers take the loss to the Washington Wizards. 2-point, and that's a game the Clips are going to want to have back. This, that's the kind of team. If you're the Clippers and you're trying to move up and where you're at in the spot, you're the number 4 holding, you lose to the number 12 team within the conference. Come on now. You got to be able to get that. Knicks beat the Detroit Pistons by 10 last night, and a 10-point victory also for the Denver Nuggets over the Pacers, and a 1-point victory for the Bucks over Memphis, which tells me something about Memphis. Can they start moving along and start moving their way up? This is a start because you got the number 3 team there that you're playing, and you actually had a good outing against that number 3. You didn't get blown away. So watch. Listen. I think you can see Memphis move up from that 10 spot and try to get themselves within that top 8. So watch out for that. That could be interesting. Oklahoma City, they get a 5-point victory over the Spurs last night, and they were on the road, so the Spurs at home were unable to protect the home court. And Portland, they get a 4-point victory over the Sacramento Kings. Portland holding on to that 5th spot. Interestingly enough, you take a look at Sacramento. I don't necessarily know how and what they've been losing games by, but I will say this. If you're Portland, I think you want to sack that team. I mean, really, you think about it, I think you really need to sack that team. They didn't. I don't know if that means anything. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I don't necessarily know if there were guys in the line or whatever the case. But when you're Portland right now, I think you got to beat that team because guess what? Phoenix blew out Golden State last night by 22. And they blew them out of the water. So simple enough. Watch out for the NBA. It's going to be interesting. Towards the second half, will these other teams start moving up? I don't know. But I will say this straight out. The Eastern Conference has got some work to do if they want to come close. Come close to what the Western Conference is doing. And if you don't watch it, you'll watch some of these teams be right at 500 and make the freaking playoffs. It drives me nuts. It's almost as bad as an NFL team, going 8-8, making that playoffs. Pisses me off. Can't stand it. But the NBA getting a little bit better. Some arenas allowing fans in the stands, so watch out for that. Texas has opened up all the way, so guess what? They're going to open up the stadium, probably not all the way to where they can fit as many as they can. They will go with an attendance recommendation and put some people in the seats. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. In case you didn't know. On a Sunday morning, it is the MVP of the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's Cuervo on a Sunday morning. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Hey, man, for you, right on time.
Good morning, Sonny. What a great picture you chose for the updated intro. I appreciate it. I look like a little kid getting ready to go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I'm teasing you.
Yeah, you need some more pictures of just you. By the way, it's hard to cut around your lady. So I'm pretty good at Photoshop, but you're standing really close to the lady, so I can't get you out. Not that I mind her in the picture, but it is the sports show. Now, if she puts on a segment, then I'll put both of you on. So so you need to work on her about doing a Broncos segment right here, and so we can get her take up on the Denver Broncos. Because listen, next year, hey, by the way, good news for Von Miller. Gets in a spat with this woman. His woman goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Accuses him a bunch of other things, and I don't know if it was a general fight or if she realized that if her mouth keeps flapping, the money won't be there. But all is well in Denver as far as Von Miller and as far as the NBA or the NFL, and also the district attorney not going to go after Von Miller. Good news for him. But in reality, does that still leave something in the back of your mind about Von Miller? I mean, how much of that do you want to believe that's coming from his woman? I think her name is Megan Denise, I think is her name. So how much do you want to believe of what she said? I mean, she recanted a lot of stuff, but a recant doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen.
Right, yeah, and I think we see that more than we want to realize is, statements being backtracked and kind of like, oh no, that's not what really happened. I think there comes a time. I'm not going to say that these women get threatened, but what I will say is I think they start to backtrack because they start to realize, if I do this, what am I losing? And am I willing to risk it? And I think a lot of times the answer is no. So I think that's part of what happens in this situation. And stories get told in a different way.
Yep. Hey, remember Chad Ochocinco? I mean, if you go back a couple of years ago, I mean, everybody was talking. Sometimes we will be the first to bash him here. That's just what we do. This is a sports talk radio. This is what we do. We elaborate on what we think we're seeing and everything else. And one thing, I am actually proud of myself because I didn't necessarily jump on the Chad Ochocinco is a woman beater thing. I didn't necessarily. Now, would have it surprised me? No, but I didn't jump on that. And then, of course, we come out, 6 months later, none of it happened. And Ochocinco, kept his mouth shut about the whole thing because that's just where he's from. He's from the old school. They didn't talk about the relationships. They didn't put that out there. That was nobody's business but him and his woman's. And he come to find out that, Chad Ochocinco wasn't the biggest scumbag that he might have thought he was. So a lot of people recanting on what they think about Chad. I still think he's a punk. I don't like him. But as far as women, in that whole situation, hey, unfortunately, they become targets in this kind of thing when you're talking about where these guys are. They become targets for nonsense that might have not been true, might have been true. They get a little more speculation on a lot of things, but could be true, could be not. So they got to be careful.
Yeah, especially when it's, the baby's yours. I mean, women having children and claiming that these famous athletes are the father. I hate to put it that way, but that the men got to protect themselves too. So
absolutely. I don't think if I was an athlete that with any kind of recognition whatsoever, hell, just an athlete that is in the professional world up on the top four, I don't think I'd walk anywhere without a body cam and a recording. And that's as sad as what it is, but seeing how people will go after these guys, and listen, and you don't have to be the superstar at your position to have something like that happen to you. Now, I'm not saying that, all women are bad. I don't want to say it, but I think as far as what a guy has to do in the sporting world to protect himself, I'm all for it. Carry the body. Mm-hmm. Listen, a body cam, you just put something like a brooch or something that looks kind of cool. You can have a camera behind it. No one even know it. And you can protect yourself. Have a recording with you. You can protect yourself. So it's really, we live in a new world. I mean, the digital age is unbelievable, where you can have a camera as big as my button right here, Cuervo, and you wouldn't even know it's a camera. I mean, goodness gracious, look at that. That could be a camera and you wouldn't even know it. So, I will tell you right now, if I was any of the big wigs out there, there's no way I wouldn't be walked around, all teched up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
hey, you got a telephone call. You want to grab that?
Yeah, give me 1 second, Sonny. Sorry.
I'm going to take him right out and bring him, and I'll bring him back here in just a moment. As we are here, we're going to be jumping into some things. In fact, we're going to be talking about a subject that we were going to talk about last week here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And I wanted some time before I jumped on it, and not because I wanted to do my research. Believe me, we don't do a lot of that. I don't jump in and listen to what a lot of things people say. I wanted to do some research on something else. So we'll talk about that. If you joined us at the end of the show last week, you know what we're talking about. We will jump into that. Lots of other things that are going to be talking about here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, things that are ready to rock and roll as far as our talk. Listen, the Chicago Bears are in the news, so watch out for that. We will talk about that. A little NBA action. I'm ready for a little NBA action. I was talking about it before. We got it all set, and there's Cuervo. He's got the thumbs up. We'll be talking about that, some of the other things. So since he is here and since we are talking about it, we might as well get, what I like to do in reality is get up on top and get juices flowing. I mean, and Cuervo, you got your football team right now with a lot of speculation all over the country. Put them up. And part of it is your football team. And I find it very interesting because, when we were talking about it last week, I was thinking to myself as we were speaking about certain things, maybe I was sorry, maybe I don't know. I could have been, but because really, what we're talking about is
the Bears are who we thought they were.
Maybe not, Cuervo, but the Bears are about ready to do something, if I think it is. Of course, obviously, the big talk in the NFL right now, if you're a Bear fan, okay, is one about Russ. All right, Russell Wilson is in the news. It is being talked about. Look, that's what he looked like right there, Cuervo. I found one of these, and I put that up there for you so you can see what it could quite possibly look like for your quarterback. Now, that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. And, of course, you being the big Bear fan that you are, how excited are you about the actual prospect of maybe bringing, arguably an MVP caliber quarterback to your football team?
Sonny, I would be excited. I would be very excited about it. Obviously, Russell Wilson has proven himself in this league. You can argue he should have one regular season MVP, maybe not. The only reservation I have to getting this trade done as a fan, the only reservation I have to wanting to see it would have to be something where. And look, promises are like, they don't mean anything when it comes to teams talking to fans in the NFL.
Whoa. What we like to do on this show, I want to write down what I think your reservation was. I didn't hear what you were talking about. I was in the room. I was grabbing some coffee, but I heard where you were going, and I heard the reservation. I heard everything you said, and then I started going, whoa, because I didn't want to hear your answer. Mm-hmm. But you got a reservation, and I'm going to write down what I think your reservation is about. Talk about the prospect of that football team having a MVP. Listen, the Bears haven't had an MVP quarterback
ever.
Yeah, ever. So, so what was your go on with your reservation? Because I just wrote down the reservation. What I think it is. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's a pretty simple one, Sonny. I think it's the same reservation that 99% of Bear fans that have a brain have the same reservation. And again, promises are they don't mean jack squat. But if we could hold Ryan Pace's feet to the fire, and as long as he could promise that they get protection for Russell Wilson, then I'm all about it. But if they go and they trade for Russell Wilson, and they don't do anything to upgrade that offensive line, then it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing, because I don't care if you have the combination of Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, Michael Vick, all in one quarterback.
Yes.
If you can't protect him,
by the way, with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and if you don't have that protection for him, then it's a waste. It's exciting to have Russell Wilson, but at the same time, then you look forward to seeing him getting sacked 80 times during the season, and that's not fun to watch as a fan.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that, and by the way, that is not my answer, and I'm going to leave my answer down. I don't think I even have that reservation, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because during the last 3 or 4 years, we've been talking about Russell Wilson and what he has been able to do for the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, the Seahawks would not be the Seahawks without him. Period. End of story. And we can talk about the Legion, the Legion of bungholes all day long, okay, and how great they were and what they brought to that football team. But without Russell Wilson, it didn't matter what the Legion of bungholes would do. In my opinion, some people would think differently, but I'm going to tell you right now, without Russell Wilson, they don't win the Super Bowl. They don't even get to the Super Bowl. They lost. So without that guy, they're not doing what they need to be doing. But you said that you didn't want to. If the coaching staff, I'm actually going to go into a little bit different direction that you were. Because we talked about it. Obviously, one of the things important that you need to do is obviously get your offensive line to protect your quarterback. It's always something I think that if most football teams are not doing it, Cuervo, they have lost their mind. And because really, in reality, I don't want to see a pocket quarterback, running for his life. But guess what, Cuervo? Yeah, I'm saying it here, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. If they have the right coaching staff, if they have, and what I'll do is take it down to Arizona, okay, and not about J.J. Watts. I'm talking about Kyler Murray. If you don't think that coaching staff has got plays set up intentionally, having Kyler Murray run that football or at least play red herring with the opportunity. I think if they did that in Chicago, it would be a total different type of offense that we're used to seeing in Chicago. But when you bring a Russell Wilson in, you don't just bring in the regular caliber pocket quarterback, even though he is, but he's got the ability to be a Kyler Murray, if not better, because he's obviously more experienced and more advanced and knows where the holes will end up. If they had a coaching staff that could coach that way like they do in Arizona, we could see a total different type of Chicago Bear offense.
I think we could. I think it's going to depend, too, on, who is going to be there as far as offensive coordinator, offensive line coach.
And offensive linemen, because,
right.
If that same offensive line, you got to bring in some different guys with a different mentality on how to block too, because that is something. I think obviously what's going on in Arizona and the way they block for Kyler Murray, that's learned. That's not something that you walk into the NFL with, because that's not your normal offense unless you have that college coach in there filling in, which obviously they have in Arizona.
Well, for what it's worth, Sonny, I don't know if it's going to make an impact, and maybe people down in your area can answer this question since you're in Texas. An interesting hire that the Bears did make this past week.
Yes, I heard that.
So I wonder what Tom Herman can bring to the table with his knowledge and his I don't know how much experience he has as far as the NFL level. I don't know if he's ever coached in the NFL. But making a jump from being the head coach of the University of Texas to the NFL, I mean,
well, before that at the University of Houston.
Yeah, he was exactly. And I mean, you saw what he did for that program. I mean, they were an offensive monster.
Yeah, they were.
So,
and he's Coach Cuervo. He's not the guy over in Arizona. His name is slipping my mind, but he's not that guy. But he's damn good. He's damn good at that, though. Herman, listen. When Texas hired him, I knew that would not work out. In fact, we're on the show talking about that Herman hire in Texas. Herman wasn't the right coach because that's not the style of football that they play in Texas. Okay, they may play that at the University of Houston and some other teams that have that type of thing going on. When they hired him, that's what solidified the idea of bringing Russell Wilson over to the Chicago Bears. Before Herman, it was just chatter, but they almost cemented that idea that, hey, we're going at him. But Cuervo, here's the answer to where I thought, because in order for you to get a Russell Wilson, you're going to have to give up something. And it's not going to be draft picks because guess what? The Bears don't do that. Okay. But the thing I'm worried about is you can't, it's too close here. Let me move that. That guy's in a lot of trouble. Khalil Mack is going to be on the trading block in order. Listen, Seattle, listen, if Seattle didn't get Khalil Mack, this would be a stupid thing for them to do. Okay, if you're gonna give up a superstar, you better get one. And listen, Khalil Mack, he's got the goods. But I don't think if you're gonna bring in Russell Wilson, I think you want to give up Khalil Mack, and I don't think Seattle's gonna make that thing without Khalil Mack. What is your thinking about Khalil Mack? Do you think he's part of the trade? If he is that a mistake?
I absolutely do think it's going to get talked about, moving Khalil. Do I think it's a mistake? Yeah, I think I could wind up being one. I just want to see where he's at next year. Right. I know that Khalil Mack has had a couple of minor injuries the past couple of years. But what worries me about Khalil more is that his impact has not been there the past couple of years. That first year when he came to Chicago, everybody saw why the trade was made. He was worth every penny that the Bears paid for with the extension that they gave him. It was essentially a trade and sign, not sign and trade.
Right.
It was a trade, and then they extended his contract.
Right.
And people saw right away why he got that. Why he got paid.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but over the past couple of years, that impact hasn't been there, and you can chalk it up to injuries if you want to, but
last year injuries were a part of that. Probably more evident last year than the year before. Yeah. I mean, yes, but when Khalil is healthy, though, I think he lacked a little bit of impact, and I don't know, honestly. I think that it has a lot to do with scheme, because the one year that Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator, that's when Khalil Mack had his best season in his first season as a Chicago Bear. Mm-hmm. Chuck Pagano steps in, and the defense just doesn't look the same in all aspects. Khalil's impact isn't the same. Eddie Jackson hasn't played the same, and Roquan Smith starts getting hurt, and he's not the same. So it's just once Pagano showed up, everything changed on that defense. They went from being a top 5 defense to middle of the pack. And I predicted that. Did Sonny Clark predict that, by the way?
Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Don't hurt yourself. We don't want you blowing your shoulder.
Elbow injury. I'm sorry.
Careful, Sonny. Careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I wanted to.
Man, the system's running a little slow. I hit that about 3 seconds.
Monkey.
The monkey.
There's the monkey. Good morning, monkey. But I just I wanted to believe that it was going to work with Chuck Pagano, and he made me look like a fool. I was rude.
Maybe you were, huh? Are you? Are you wrong too much? I mean, I don't know.
I'm wrong all the time. You can ask the old lady. I'm wrong all the time.
We should probably put that on a loop.
Ask the old lady. I'm wrong all the time.
No, hold on. You're old. Listen, it don't even matter if you're right. You're wrong. So with your old lady, but that's a story in itself.
But yeah, I mean Pagano. Yep, it just it didn't work. Period. It didn't work, and I can't wait to see what the new defensive coordinator is going to bring. Sean Desai, I think is how you say his last name. He's coming up from the secondary unit to become the defensive coordinator, and I don't know. I mean, young, hungry guy that is ready to learn and take over. And I hope it's one of those moves, Sonny, that guys like playing for him and they're excited to play for him. We'll see how much respect he has within that organization. Well,
I put up the graphic just before, and I'll put it back up here. And take a look at there. The Chicago Bears are in line for all 5 of those guys. I mean, if you think about where some of the guys could go, your Bears are after all of them. And that's a big story. That's it right now, Cuervo. That is an indictment of what the Chicago Bears offense is all about right now. Okay, when you got 5 guys that are out there, and one of them, by the way, is Sam Darnold, which is not, ceiling high great right now, but maybe has potential. But they're talking about Sam Darnold. I mean, obviously, some of the other names on there, Russell Wilson, of course, and Watson. Bridgewater's also being considered, but the one that surprises me is the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. But I don't think you'd be too upset. I mean, obviously, I don't think you'd want Teddy, even though Sonny's got some mad love for Teddy. But I don't think he needs to be a Chicago Bear. And if he is, he'd have to be a backup. And that would be a perfect spot for him in reality, if you think about it, based upon the personnel now. But you bring in different guys and stuff like that. I don't think Sam Darnold is the guy that you really want to be looking at as well. But I think, Wilson, Watson, and Garoppolo are 3 guys that you really could pinpoint. But here's the thing about that. If you do go one of those guys, Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Darnold, or Deshaun Watson, I think Khalil Mack will be part of that trade. I think you could maybe pull in Jimmy G without the Khalil Mack. So without pulling Khalil Mack, and if he is going to be part of the future of the Chicago Bears, I think the right fit for that team right now, that being your Chicago Bears, is Jimmy Garoppolo out of all 5 of those that we put up on that graphic.
Well, he's an Illinois guy too, Sonny. So I think that's why he's linked to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that's why he's linked to the Bears being a potential team for him. Yes. But here's the bigger question though: is San Francisco going to be willing to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe for the right price,
but they're not going to get a quarterback in return. So that's a big loss for the 49ers. If they go that route, they're going to have a backup plan to take over for Jimmy G. Because listen, you can't just get rid of
Nick Foles. We'll give him Nick Foles. Problem solved. Problem solved.
There you go.
You can have Nick Foles and his $21 million.
Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, you fill that in. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Trubisky does not fill the 49ers, basic look. So he's not the right guy. But hey, Foles could be that guy. So there you go. So out of those 5, which one do you want? I mean, do you want Wilson? Do you want well, you wouldn't want Sam Darnold or Teddy Bridgewater. Do you want Watson? Do you want Jimmy G? Who do you want? And if who you want is not on that top 5, let me know who you think it is.
Well, what I really want is, maybe Peyton Manning to be reincarnated as a 25-year-old and have him on the Chicago Bears. But we all know that's not going to happen.
Do you want Eli Manning?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though, Sonny. I appreciate the egregious offer, but I'm going to have to respectfully decline. But no, I mean, if I had to pick out of those guys, he's going to cost the most. But and everyone that listens to this show knows how much I like Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, maybe it's the gambler in me. If you're going to go big, and go for the best guy. Go for the youngest guy with the most potential and the guy that can be of service to you for the next 10 years. Deshaun Watson's that guy.
Is that going to matter? Because evidently Deshaun Watson doesn't have it. I mean, obviously the letdown in the playoffs. I mean, take away from that year. I mean, what has Deshaun Watson done? Except lose in the first round, after having the big lead in the fourth quarter.
Well, he's done more than Mitch Trubisky has. I can't say Nick Foles because we all know what Nick Foles did, but
yeah, there you go.
But he's done a lot more in his career than Mitch Trubisky has. So, in a perfect world, we trade for Watson, we re-sign Trubisky for a bag of potatoes, and he's the backup, and we start working on that offensive line.
But bag of potatoes, he's going to at least listen. Mitchell Trubisky is going to at least get $10 million. He's not going to. I mean, is that the bag of potatoes, or is that too big of a bag?
That's way too big. I would cut that bag in half.
Well, see, and I think Mitchell Trubisky could probably demand $10 million and get it somewhere. I know it sounds incredibly dumb, because in reality, the NFL is about getting the job done, and obviously Mitchell Trubisky hasn't been able to do it. But in reality, it's that business right there. I mean, and right now, Mitchell Trubisky has not done anything lately, or has seen that maybe that potential can move up. Maybe he did, though, in the last 5 or 6 games of the season last year when the reuniting between him and his head coach happened. But I don't think there are too many teams out there really that are in contention for making the playoffs or making the Super Bowl or whatever the case may be that would be picking up to get him. But there's a lot of crappy teams out there that would probably throw $10 million at Mitchell Trubisky. Not saying that that's where he'd want to go if he was going to be a guy that goes for money, or is he going to be a guy that goes for wins? And, and speaking of that, Cuervo, I mean, the big news that happened, that obviously came out, and it was obviously about the same thing. Was he going to go to a contender, or was he going to go for money? And the big news right there it is right there. Did he go for money? Did he go for a championship? Cuervo, that was the big talk that was coming from J.J. Watts. I want to go to a contender for the Super Bowl. By God, it's not the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, listen, it's not a slap against Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray is not ready to take that step. Last year, I'll put it out there. Toward the end of the season, there was something wrong with this kid. This kid was injured. I'm just going to ride that and say the bad performance that we saw from him compared to the first 8 games to the last 8 was this guy was injured. But then again, they didn't have anything to lose. They were trying to make the playoff spot, and they knew they weren't going to get it with a backup, so they ran him out there to see if they could get lucky. That didn't happen for him. But J.J. Watts, though, I mean, listen, I don't know. Cuervo, it's just something bothers me about that because, this is a guy that has been respected. Okay, so in other words, I'm going to slap a little respect on his name with what he did in Houston, whether, it was out on the football field, which, by the way, if and when he was out there, the guy did play, and he played at a higher caliber than most, but half of it was, take away last year, but the 3 years before that, even 4, you didn't know if you were going to get a full 16 games out of J.J. Watt. So, I mean, how we were talking about 4 years ago, they should trade him to get the value. Because he couldn't stay out on the football field. But I mean, I don't know what this trade does for the Arizona Cardinals. And listen, I haven't listened to anybody, just so that you know. I don't see the benefit of the Arizona Cardinals getting this guy. Except here, let me go to it. It is Watts is getting $31 million 2-year deal with 23 guaranteed. $23 million guaranteed. Now, if he only plays 1 year, if they cut him and let him go if he gets hurt, man, that's a big payday for one year. Not a necessarily great payment for 2 years. So, but if they have to fulfill the contract, it does go to a certain amount there. I mean, what was it? The number came out to $31 million, so you put them at 15.5 in reality. But also, though, the relationship between what's his name? DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not buying. I'm just not buying. Oh, really great relationship. Listen, he was on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, really, J.J. Watts can give two shakes of shit about DeAndre Hopkins as far as getting to where he needs to get to. I think people are putting way too much on the DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watts relationship with this whole thing. Am I wrong on this, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, I definitely don't think that's the main factor as to why he decided to sign with Arizona. 100%, I believe it was.
It is.
It was about the money. 100%.
Okay, then I'm not out of line because
not at all.
I don't know what Fox is saying, ESPN. I don't know what those commentators are because I haven't had time to listen to them. I mean,
those guys are going to sell you
off air.
Those guys are going to sell you on, it's about team chemistry and he wants to go win there and he's buddy up with DeAndre Hopkins again. Blah 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 blah. He just wanted to get paid, baby. And guess what? He got paid, baby. $15.5 million for a guy that's hurt. His back is completely blown.
And he's no
champion. And by the way, how ironic is that the picture that he takes showing the Arizona, he's on a squat rack.
Yeah. Just show him how you're going to blow your back out again, J.J. Watt. Great job. But I'm sure he didn't lift it until the ink was fresh off the contract. But think about this. I mean, the money that is going. Guess what? Look at that. I'm telling you right now, I think I'm wanting me some of that guy right there. That guy right there, not J.J. Watts. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're the Arizona Cardinals and you're going to go get that guy, granted, I know they play different positions. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand it. But motor, skill play, playmaking skills and everything else. I'm sorry. I'm wanting me some Khalil Mack to have an impact on your defense. It's not J.J. Watts. Listen, I love him. I respect him and everything, but he's not an impact player anymore. He's getting paid like he is one. And I think that's the big mistake the Arizona Cardinals made. And unless there's some kind of miracle thing that he has been doing or has done to get him to where he is the same guy that he was 6 to 7 years ago, not 3 to 4.
Doubt it, Sonny. And this is more of a reason why I think if the trade goes down with Russell Wilson coming over to Chicago, I think Khalil Mack is gone because you have to match what Arizona just did. And I think if you make that trade and you get rid of the franchise quarterback, you get you an impact defensive player.
I do to kind of roundabout to that, Cuervo. Sometimes my thinking about what we talk about, I knew that would round about to this because that's the reason why I set it up that way. And you're right, because with those 4 teams, all 4 of those teams in the NFC, listen, I have heard NFL experts diss some of the teams in this division. I'm telling you right now, the Arizona Cardinals are offensive linemen away from being not just good, being great. I don't know what you're going to get for Jimmy G, but you can't count out the 49ers. And if he is the actual quarterback, you can't count out the 49ers out of that. And then, of course, you have the Rams. I don't know where they're going to be. I mean, you got the Rams player saying, hey, Matthew Stafford's better than the guy we just got rid of, bitch slapping him out of town and just welcoming him with open arms, that being Matthew Stafford. Yeah. And then, of course, you have, in Seattle, you want to stay up on top of that division. All four of those teams are playoff, potentially next year playoff teams, depending on how obviously the way the injuries are going to be a big part of where one of these teams is going to be. San Francisco was just ravished with injuries last year, to where you didn't necessarily, if they would have stayed healthy, you knew they were going to make the playoffs. So, but that division of football is going to be really tough. It rounded about to take it back to the Bears. Now, you think about this, the Bears also have some other kind of bait out there, Cuervo. Some of them out there. Okay, and I put this up because it's your guy. Second of all, he is actually probably trade bait more for Seattle than any of the teams, whether it be the Ravens, who's Kenny Galloway play for? It's slipping my mind.
Detroit.
Thank you. So these guys are going to probably not be there, but Robinson could be part of that Seattle thing. But back to this right here, we were just talking about this 3 weeks ago about the importance of getting Allen Robinson if you are the Ravens. Because I'm telling you right now, if they pick, we said it 3 weeks ago, if they pick up Allen Robinson, they're going to win the AFC North. I'm sorry, if they are one big guy away, and it could have been Galladay, it could have been Robinson. So, that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. With that talk away from the Ravens, who the hell are they thinking about getting in order to help a Lamar Jackson who does, listen, the guy's got a gun, but he's not accurate. So first of all, you got to work on that. And then second of all, if you're going to give him the weapon, how are they going to get him the ball? But the other question is, who's that weapon going to be if it's not Allen Robinson, if it's not Galladay? Who the hell, who's running the ship over there? Listen, when it's bitch slapping me in the face what the Ravens need, why they are not out there actively pursuing the top 6 wide receivers in the NFL right now, it's beyond me.
Well, I would say that the team the guy that Baltimore might be looking at, surprisingly, I don't know, maybe I'm way off the grid on this one. Wouldn't surprise me if they're going after AJ Green. And I think AJ Green is a fit in Baltimore. I know it's within the division, but something tells me. Laugh all you want, monkey. We're gonna see who gets the last laugh.
Well, the reason why I put that up there, AJ Green is not the guy. Listen, that guy. First of all, he's way beyond his prime. I mean, way beyond it. Okay, say whatever you want. I think he's got mad skills, but he's nothing now more than a number 2 or a number 1 on a really bad football team. All right, he's a number 2. If he could be a step-up number 2, maybe. I get it, but really, we haven't seen anything from A.J. Green. And those injuries, listen, the type of injuries that he had, Cuervo, those are injuries that are going to come back and haunt him, if not next year, the year after. I mean, so getting A.J. Green does absolutely nothing except maybe give you an inside scoop to 2 games that you can maybe win within your division because he knows that football team so well. Is that good enough to go get him? Is that good enough to make them – listen, if they go get A.J. Green, they still don't win this division. You got to beat the Steelers. Or for that matters, if Cleveland figures it out, they're going to have to try to go beat the Cleveland Browns. And I don't know. I don't see A.J. Green being that guy that creates that much of an impact for your guy as far as Lamar Jackson is concerned. I didn't think you would say that. I know I was thinking that's what they do if they mess this thing up. I don't know. I don't see AJ Green as being that guy. And not only that, though, Cuervo, the money that you're going to have to do to get that guy in there, you're going to have to pay some money to get him. But if their real idea is to make the playoffs and make a splash in the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl, I think they're wide receiver one. I mean, impact wide receiver one from not being in or out of the Super Bowl next year. Yeah, I can't believe I just said it. They go get Allen Robinson. That football team on the AFC side is the only team that I think that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I mean that's I completely agree with that. I mean, I think Baltimore is the one team that can compete with Kansas City right now, better than just about every team in the AFC. But I think getting a legit number one receiver is going to close that gap.
Yeah,
and I think Kansas City would definitely have a hard time with the Baltimore.
A legit number one. Do you think he's legit? Or maybe I'm just being too tough on him with the injuries and everything. But AJ Green, listen, 3 years ago I was on this guy. I was like, yeah, this guy, yeah, this guy, yeah, this guy. That's who you're injury plagued and those injuries. Is he that guy? Could he do that?
Well, I mean, maybe I'm just have bad memories, Sonny, but isn't that turf toe the only injury that he's really had, or was there an injury after that?
I thought he had a knee injury. I thought he had some kind of problem with his knee. I'll check that out while we're talking.
I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember.
But I know turf toe. But here's the thing. I mean, turf toe is keeping him off the football field for 16 games last year, Cuervo. So AJ Green. Obviously, you want to be able to have your guy in there for long enough and to be able to create the impact that you would want from a guy. But now, that being said, if Baltimore wants to save some money, it's the AJ Green guy. All right, because they're going to have to pay AJ Green, Allen Robinson money. So that being said, if you think about it, I mean, if you want to save money, that is your guy. I'm looking here. Here it is. All right. Well, come back here. This thing. Why is this thing in my face? I hate when this happens. All right. Yes, he had turf toe on the right toe. He had a knee injury on the right side. And then he had a couple of other injuries. He had a pec check and then on this throwing arm. But one of the things I think, as far as where is your team and where your guy is, I honestly do not think I want to have a guy that has groin injury. I mean, so I don't think I want that. Combination knee, combination turf toe, and that turf toe flares up whenever it flares up. But the knee, and then a groin injury, and then on the throwing dominant, he's right-handed. So on his dominant shoulder, so he's had a couple of injuries out there, and
Very funny. Hey, let me tell you something, young lady. Hey, that closet ain't gonna organize itself. Get back to school.
Oh, I love it. We got to get her a segment on this show. I mean, it would just be great.
Well, I tell you what, it'll be nothing but Broncos and Dodger talk. That's what you're going to get.
Hey, we need a Dodger expert. I mean, so if she dives into it, maybe that'd be kind of cool. But
she is your Dodger expert. I'll tell you that.
There you go. So that being said, interesting. I love the way this went. It went full circle. The way I almost kind of expected. And again, guys, we didn't get up on air to drive this the way. Now I kind of led it that way, but I knew kind of the way that it would end up based upon what I know about my co-host and how he brings it on. So that was good stuff there. So here's what we're going to do, Cuervo. We got to pay some bills. I got to make sure I get my sponsors out there. So we're going to take a 5-minute break here and let our sponsors take over the airwaves here and get that done. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show. When we come back, there's still a lot of talk about, whether it be the Chicago Bears. Wait, hold on, Cuervo. There you go. Oh, that's you. All right, so that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
So yeah. So other things that we're going to be talking about. By the way, when we come back, I want to tease what we teased last week at the end of the show. And if you watch the end of the show, we're actually going to talk Cam Newton when we come back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. So make sure you join us, because there was there was a purpose on me waiting, and it wasn't because I wanted to hear any other experts. Listen, there's a lot to say about that whole situation, but I wanted to see something specific if I could see it. If not, by the way, speaking of the Bears, I mean, would you hate this idea? Or maybe I don't think I'd hate this idea. What do you think, Cuervo? I mean, me being somewhat of the closet Bear fan that I am, what do you think about out? Now, obviously not your starter, okay? Listen, he can't be your starter. But, I mean, experience, would you be too mad about bringing Alex Smith on board?
As a backup, absolutely not. I'd be on board 100%.
Good. Okay. Then at least I'm not on left field, because I think not only do I think it's a good move, I think it would be a great move for the Chicago Bears in reality. And I think you can get him probably somewhat cheap. So interesting enough. All right. So let's do that. So let's take the break. When we come back, we'll talk Cam Newton. I sent Tarvin a message. He's probably busy, probably at church, but I sent him a message about that. Maybe we could get him in, maybe not. We'll find out. But we'll take that quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is that being said. We'll be right back.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast. Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. We specialize in everything that others don't, such as stained concrete floors, wood spot repairs on doors and floors, stainless steel spot repairs, anti-slip on floors, and more. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607. That's 214-536-2607. Or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. We strive to always meet and exceed customers' expectations, competency, and accountability, as well as satisfaction. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Being taken for a ride? Check out Koslow Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Koslow Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at KoslowInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, Dickey's Barbecue has done all the cooking and you take all the credit. Whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about Karen McKinney of Budget Blinds of Rowlett. Find a little inspiration by browsing our product, whether it be the latest trends, child safety, or smart home technology, and more. Contact Karen McKinney at 972-722-9300 or visit her on the web at budgetblinds.com/Rowlett. You can also learn who they are, as well as their approach and products, and you can also schedule a free home consultation. Again, contact Karen at 972-722-9300 or log online, budgetblinds.com/Rowlett.
Into the Couch Potato Sports Show, hour number one in the books, into hour number two. Of that being said, of course, our weekly tradition of that right there, 12 years. Well, hold on. There we go. 12 years right there. The Couch Potato Sports Show, 10 years working here. By the way, 10 years for this young man that has been at my side for 10 of these 12. Actually, I got to find out when that was. It's either 10 or 11. It's been so long, I can't even keep up. It's 11 years. He's been with us for 11 years. And that, if I'm not mistaken, that just passed on the forget what it was, but it was March. But early in March, where we are. So this is Cuervo's 11th year on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Fine co-host that he is, keeping me in check from my old school, trying to keep me a little young, try to get me through some of these new waves of thinking from young people, and I'm just horrible at it. Just more than the fact I'm not a big young person fan. But I love me some Cuervo. By the way, again, congratulations to Cuervo. 20 years at the end of this year. He will be in the military, and in fact, he'd been on this show longer than, or more than half of the time that he was in with the military. And we've seen all kinds of things with Cuervo, whether it's him being in a different country coming on this show, unbelievable, in a bunker, or doing, in his tent or where he's at, all kinds of crazy stuff that we had Cuervo in for this show. So love having him on. Of course, he's getting ready to come back in here with us. Some other things I want to kind of get you as far as some of the news that is out there, as far as sporting news in reality. And my page went away, so let me bring that back here. There it is. Joel Embiid. He's out for the All-Star game. Contact tracing. Listen, I'm going to give the NBA a lot of credit on some of the things that they've done. Really making the best of it, which right now, the NBA is a hard product to watch right now without fans and everything. Now, granted, they're going to start bringing in some more of these fans as far as the NBA is concerned, especially down here in Texas. So you got the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets. They're going to bring in more people in there. Oklahoma's lightening up a little bit, so maybe even the Oklahoma Thunder. A lot of teams right there within that Midwest, have an opportunity maybe to bring some more people within the crowds. They're doing same-day COVID testing. In order for you to be in there for the games, you got to do a rapid test right there, and then they'll let you in, of course, masked up. So we're living in a different day and age as far as this year is concerned. Will we get back to normal? Depending on what you believe from the experts, and I listen to the experts. I don't listen to people who think they are. I listen to the experts, and the experts say that herd immunity and everything based up. By the way, I got my COVID shot, my first COVID shot on Friday. I get that second shot on the 2nd of March, or 2nd of April. So that being said, that's when I get my second one. So but I'm still wearing the mask out there. I just, I'm a smorgasbord for that virus, if you know what I mean. So, but they're doing all that kind of stuff as far as contact tracing. Joel Embiid, signs that, gets that big contract, by the way. Congratulations for him. We kind of briefly touched on that last week. Was he worth the money? Was he not? That just all depends on what you think about the guy as a player. Joel Embiid's got some talent. The guy is able to do what he does. And I'm going to tell you right now, watch out for him. I don't know if he lives up to this contract that he signed, but at the same time, I see what that guy might be capable of doing and what he may, or what he's got the potential of putting forth, and whether that is performance out on the basketball court, whether it's to put asses in seats, or just being out and about in the community. I think Joel Embiid is a guy that you can look at. Some news there. Just take a quick look here, and because some of the things that have been talked about, I ran across this, and I wanted to get this down so people could see it, because this almost kind of explains what's going on when you make the comparison to Bron and Michael Jordan. And let me just go on the record. I don't want to say I don't respect Jalen Rose. First of all, he took over for Mike and Mike. And you talk about an institution. Now, they did it for 15 years over there. That's an institution there. It's almost like bringing someone on board to our show that has never been on the radio before, only hits and pieces here, and don't really know it. I just don't get the hit from Jalen Rose that I got from Mike and Mike. I just don't. And Keyshawn Johnson. I haven't listened to him. I gave him a shot. I gave him the first 2 weeks, and I couldn't catch it. But he makes this statement. He says, in this era of basketball, not the era of Jordan, not the era of even before Jordan, not in the era that's coming up. This era right here, LeBron ain't stopping great players from winning championships. Okay. And I think I know what that means when he says it. But he says what LeBron James will do, though, is they're getting their turn. There was no turn in Michael Jordan's era, and he's absolutely right. And what does that mean is really simple. Is that Michael Jordan was not bringing players to his team. Michael Jordan wasn't getting hold of the general manager, says, you need to bring this guy to my team. Michael Jordan played with what he had, what they can get. And even Jerry Krause said, this guy never came to me and said, go get this player. He never went to Jerry Krause, said, we need to go, sign this guy for this amount, or you're paying this guy too much. Listen, Jerry Krause and Michael Jordan, they don't get along. And that's what Krause said. Now, here's one thing I will tell you. Okay, in knowing the game that I know, and knowing the NBA as I know it, totally different. And And listen, I'm going to say Jalen Rose was right. Because, you don't get guys to help you win. You win with what you got. In this day and age, and one of the hardest things that the NBA, and I don't know if they're going to have anything that they're going to be able to do about tampering within players, talking to each other. Back in the day, talking Larry Bird, Bill Laimbeer, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, Reggie Miller, all these guys didn't get up on the phone and have a conversation, 3 or 4 days before the game or 3 or 4 games after. These guys weren't friends during the season. See, and with the old school mentality that I got, that's me. Listen, I took it to all facets of what I do when I played the game. Of course, I had quote-unquote friends on other teams. Of course, I had that kind of stuff going on. When I competed, I knew people on the other side. But during season time, I didn't care who they were. I wanted to beat the hell out of them. Now, that wasn't always the case. But that was Michael Jordan's case. And some of them look on him differently for that thinking. And I am not one of those, by the way. In fact, if anything, I commend him for having that dedication to the sport and what he does. Not everybody likes that. Not everybody is mature enough to understand the drive and passion to play a game to your best abilities to be known as a GOAT. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if Michael Jordan got into this business when he started playing basketball to be the GOAT. It's just the way it is. And Bron can talk about this all day long. But when you talk basketball and when you talk Michael Jordan and when you talk the GOAT, the one thing you don't get is Bron, who you going to bring to your team when you're talking Michael Jordan. You don't say, hey, Jordan, who are you going to get? Who are you going to go? Who are you on the phone with? Hey, man, come join us. We can be good. We didn't get that. And that's the reason. And you take it even to a point further. It's the reason why I respect Michael Jordan more so than anybody as far as basketball is concerned, because he just didn't care. Now, he wanted, once Scotty got there, he wanted him to stay. And that relationship wasn't all, rose petals and loves and kisses. They had their moments. But also Michael Jordan, who knew who Scottie Pippen was. I know who Scottie Pippen was. He knew. He didn't say go out and get Scottie Pippen. He just was there. And then he wouldn't let him go. But that's not Bron. Bron, you get up on the phone, you pick up the cell phone, yo, what's going on? Come, Jones, you want to win championship? Come on, yeah. And the arrogance in that is what pisses me off about him in reality. The arrogance of just that thought that I'm so good. Can we talk? I'm going to tell you right now and people don't get it. And that is the problem with today's young people. And we're going to get to that in a second, but I'm telling you right now, the arrogance, hey, why don't you come up here, we can win a championship. I'll see if I can swing you. How much you want? I'll see if I can swing it. Yeah, the arrogance to come and play with me and we'll win a championship is why people want to bitch slap this guy all over the place. Listen, you want to lose the respect from an old school guy, start being arrogant. And this guy has never lost it, by the way. Now, we can argue the point if that's his fault or not. We can argue, well, maybe was he raised a little bit differently and he come to get that. We can argue that all day long, but here's the simple fact of the matter is arrogance is part of his nature. And that's what rubs old people like me against Bron. Young people are used to this crap. This is what they see every single day. They see the getting away with BS. They see they can say whatever they want. And case in point, There was a situation, and again, I saved this because I wanted to know something about something. I'll just get to it. We could have talked about this last week when it was quote unquote news. But I wanted the opportunity for the news to hit. And I wanted the opportunity for growth. And this is what I'll talk about that in just a moment. And those that don't know what I'm talking about is that, listen, you can go back and listen to the history of the Couch Potato Sports Show. And you can go back and listen to some crazy stuff that is being said about Cam Newton by me. You can say some of the crazy things, that was said by other people. I don't know, Cuervo, I don't think you ever went that kind of crazy on what you said about Cam Newton, did you? I mean, what was that? You never really pounced on him like I did, have you?
The only negative thing I said about Cam, Sonny, is what a lot of people say about him and what people have observed about Cam is that when him and his team is winning, you get good, happy Cam, and he dresses normal. When the team starts losing, and then you get you get something. Maybe Grandma Newton, I don't know, but Grandpa Newton. But you also get the guy that is full of excuses,
yes.
Blames everybody else on why the team's losing football games. He sits up there with the look on his face, like almost like a pouting face, like life just hit him with the worst thing ever. So, that's the Cam that you get when the team is losing. He's negative Nancy. Teams, everything just sucks, and it's everybody else's fault. But I've heard him blame himself too. But you just get a very negative. You get a negative vibe and a really bad dressed Cam Newton.
Really, really bad. Yeah, top 10, by the way, on bad dressing. But that being said, how much of the Jalen Rose did you hear of me?
I walked back in because I was checking on the pups, and I saw that picture that you had up there about LeBron wouldn't win in this era.
Right. Let me bring that back up because I'm going to try, but we'll back this up in reality as far as what we're talking about. Let's go back to this. Again, I'm not a Jalen Rose fan whatsoever. Okay, and as a basketball player, maybe I liked him a little bit, but as far as what he does on the radio, ESPN radio, I just don't get this guy. I don't get it. But what he says here is completely. He says in this era of basketball, LeBron, okay, ain't stopping great players from winning championships. They're getting their turn. There was no turn in Michael's era. Interestingly enough, I get exactly what he is saying there. And you can also bring up on the fact of arrogance as far as, Bron picking up the phone and saying, yo, why don't you come over and we can win a championship? The arrogance in just that statement. Michael never did that. He never went to Jerry Krause and said, get me this guy. He never went to Jerry Krause and said, pay this guy this. So, he did go to Jerry Krause and say, figure out Pippen. That's the only thing he did. Outside of that, he wasn't bringing Larry Bird over to play with him. He wasn't going to bring anybody over that he supposedly liked. But listen, during the season, Michael Jordan didn't like Larry Bird, okay? Michael Jordan didn't like Magic Johnson. So, it was no communication. Listen, after a game in Bron's eras, they're picking up the phone and calling each other after they just got done, on the court with them. And that kind of crap didn't happen back in the days when you had Jordan and you had Lambert, you had Isaiah, you had Bird, you had Magic, you had all these guys, okay? They didn't pick up the phone and call each other. Now, granted, there were long-distance bills back in those days, so but that's just not the point. In reality, if they were going to do it, they would do it. That wasn't built in their mechanics. That wasn't built in their way they are, and the arrogance of picking up the phone, you want to come win a championship with me, just tears me up. It just makes me want to rip LeBron James's face off.
Well, because well, I know you hate that, but I think what it is it takes away from the competitive spirit of the game.
I want to be the best, and I'm going to beat the best.
Right, and then that's
what beat the best.
Right, because you think about it, LeBron's won 4 rings now. I'm gonna tell you, it's 4. Out of those 4, I truly give him credit for 1. I give him credit for the 1 ring out of 4, and I think you know which one it is.
Cleveland,
absolutely Cleveland.
When I think of LeBron James and his championships, I think of that. Asterisks. I'm not a very good artist, but that's.
Oh, I know what you meant. I know what that is. Ain't no spider web.
And it's because of that thinking right there, what we talked about. He didn't want to play with the best. He wanted to beat the best, and that's the difference. That's the difference. He wanted to beat the best. He didn't want to play with them. And that arrogance, all this crap, that guy'd have 1 ring right now if it wasn't for Dwayne Wade. He would have only 1 ring if it wasn't for the other cast of characters that he brought in. So, and that brings me to what we were going to talk about the end of last week, is that the arrogance of that guy. Listen, we have I don't know if you saw my social media video where the kid gets a on the baseball field where he gets hit in the back and he falls down and he does the LeBron James flop, like he just got hit by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and if anything, it was a rainbow shot, if anything, but in the way that was played out. But I want to go to this video here, Cuervo, and I know you've seen it, and because I probably mentioned you probably wouldn't found it, but I'm going to play it for you. You guys, take a look at this video. This is what we get.
You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You about to be pulled. I'm rich. You about to be pulled. I'm rich. You about to be pulled. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. He's a free agent. Where your daddy is? Let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You ass. Talk to. Let me. Where's your dad? Where's your pop?
Now, and obviously Cuervo's away from the camera. I'll get him in a second. But because I see him there. But that was the thing that caught viral out there. And Cuervo, I know you saw it, and it was one of those things. Now, just so that you know, Cuervo, before we get to commenting on that, I want to play a video that you might not have seen. This was some of the aftermath of that. Take a look at this. This is really it.
No, ain't no disrespect. If you wanted some attention, I'm going to give you some attention. The right way, bro. The right way. When do y'all play?
We play tomorrow.
What was y'all record today then?
1-2. No, 2-1.
What did you do? No, I wasn't able to see because y'all was too.
Cameras on me.
All right, bro. What did he do, man? Does he play?
He got speed.
He got speed.
No, he's let his speed.
Oh.
You gonna see?
Huh?
You gonna see?
Man, don't act shy now, bro. Don't act shy. I'm asking you. I couldn't see today.
You gonna watch YouTube? Oh, you watch YouTube? I know you do. You cafeteria crotch, man.
No, stop. No, I'm really trying to ask you. Like, I'm trying to see like what you.
We do that shit for real though.
I'm like.
We rep that 215.
205?
215.
215. Okay, cool. Bro. I'm just like, please don't be one-dimensional. Like you said something to me, then when I'm really trying to talk to you, I'm not trying to like crack no jokes. I'm just really trying to ask a simple question, bro. It's your fault why everybody's looking, but I'm really just trying to ask a question. But you never said what you did. You said you gonna see.
At the end of the day, right?
No, coach, it's no disrespect.
No,
I promise you, it's no disrespect.
I get that. But I'm still man. right? This is the coach. I'm not the fool.
Coach, we squashed it. We good. I was literally, I was good.
I love that. I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to break the monotony. Yeah. I was just trying to talk to him. He think I'm trying to play him for
Nah, bro, I'm focusing on I'll get my point.
Thank you, sir.
Right? Congratulations.
But y'all don't play no more today, though. Are you good? I see y'all moving.
See, that was the video of afterwards.
But y'all don't play no more today.
Behind.
Yeah, I'm watching it on my cell. I was watching it on my cell phone because my laptop is. Yeah.
That was the second part of it. Where now, obviously, you had the first part of it that was bad enough. And obviously that made evidently, and again, I don't know what was talked about, from everybody else. But, this is the go around. This is the type of athlete that is right there in front of a Cam Newton. Okay, listen, I've ripped Cam about his play and everything, but if I was a football player, you know what it would be almost like as if I had Harry Carey right in front of me in broadcasting, one of the best in the business, and me, showing my ass, as my dad would say back in the day, and showing up Harry Carey, one of the legends of the game, calling the game. And listen, I'm going to put it out there for what's going on as far as the type of player that a Cam Newton is. Listen, that guy's got mad skills. Listen, he's really one of the first to do it. Now, Randall Cunningham had his way of doing it, and that was old school. But listen, and even I'm smart enough to admit that Cam Newton is a better football player than Randall Cunningham. I know that hurts my heart, but it's just true. But when you see this kind of thing coming from a young athlete, this is a young athlete in 5 or 6 years. Okay, we're going to be talking about him maybe. I mean, if he does, if he doesn't show his ass and maybe, mess up whatever is going to end up happening to him in the near future, whether him being playing for Alabama, LSU, or wherever the hell that he would play. But this is the athlete that we're getting, and I don't know where this all comes from. Except I can find a common denominator. Guys that think that their stuff don't stink and things like that. That's where this attitude comes from. And if you believe what he said, and I don't know if you want to believe what he said, I'm not one to, because I'm old school, and I believe this kid was saying exactly what he said. Here, I mean, obviously, no one's going to read the whole apology here, but this is the apology that he put out there. But what I was waiting for, in reality, to bring it to this week is this young kid's name. His name is J. Seth Owens. I wanted to see what he would do after the apology. I wanted to see what he was going to do after this. But I knew where it was going to go, but I wanted to give the opportunity. And the reason why I knew where it was going to go is the word "but," Cuervo. But and you can find out people's intention with that word in reality. He says, I realize that on the bottom part of this, it says, I realize this can I can't see the word. So basically mess up the future as a young man having big dreams and goals. But I will not allow this to stop me from getting to where I need to be. The thing on this one is it's called the but. But I will not allow this to stop me. I got news for you. Okay, great. Talk about that all day long. But the word is but. And I hate that word because it indicates that he still doesn't get it. It indicates that what he just did is, in the era of YouTube, in the era of Ticker, what is it? What's it called?
TikTok.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't even get on it. I don't even know it. In this era, you get young people with attitudes. You get young people with arrogance. You get young people with their shit don't stink. They get young people on there. And this would be different if this was outside of this kid's normal way of doing things. The thing is, it's one of two things, Cuervo, and I wrote it down because I wanted to say it right. See, this is one of two things. I could really be quick and trigger happy and say this is the parents' fault. In other words, they allowed the behavior in the home, or they do the same damn thing, and he's just following suit. Okay? Now, if you believe the part about the apology where he says, I wasn't brought up that way, if you believe that, I don't. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't. Going back to that video, this was all too easy for him, Cuervo. He does this all the time. And I hate to kind of like blanket statement things like that, but you can tell. I mean, he didn't even give a rat's bad ass that he had, with all the respect in the world, had a freaking MVP right in front of him. Had a guy that was in the Super Bowl, damn near won it, by the way, and was from the same area where he was, taking it and totally bitch slap disrespect across Cam Newton's face. Listen, I'm not a fan of Cam Newton. This kind of crap drives me nuts. But if there's anybody out there, if there's anybody out there that can look up or even learn from something, it's a kid from his old neighborhood where instead he gets this back at him. And I'm going to tell you, this is the TikTok, YouTube, all this crap. It's the new way, because I'm going to tell you what happened in old school world back in 1983 when I played this game, Cuervo. Because what would have happened is they wouldn't have put up with that crap. Not only would they have kicked me out of this camp that, by the way, Cam Newton paid for him, not only would they have kicked me out of the camp, they would have kicked me off the team and or slapped the taste out of my mouth. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? You're talking to a guy that has taken not only time and money out of his life to be here for you. And it would, again, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm going to tell you right now, I was, as a 54-year-old, I was disgusted. And if I was the coach, I would have slapped the shit out of him, said, who are you talking to? And at the end of the second video, what you didn't see, it was almost, you seen almost the coach, okaying his behavior. And I didn't like that part of the whole thing either. So there's a lot of variables in this thing as far as that. But what I wanted to see is after the apology, what has he done? You know what the answer to that question is? Hasn't done nothing. Hasn't done anything, set any intentions on what he's going to do. Because listen, I'm from the old school. You can say you're sorry all day long, but I want to see your works afterwards. What did you learn from it? And how did you put that towards your life? What are you going to do about it? You can say you're sorry all day long, but what are you going to do? Now, granted, it's only been a week, but within that week, or actually in reality, this whole thing has been 2 weeks. We haven't seen anything from this kid that what he's going to do about what his performance was in that video to better himself. And an apology, in my eyes, isn't good enough. So, I mean, you seen the video, and you want me to put the apology back up? I don't know. Here's the apology. It was long, and that was another thing. It was long, and I didn't believe it either. So, what do you think?
Well, first of all, like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video without any buffering or skipping or anything like that. That's on my end, Sonny. That's nothing that is on your end. It's my laptop. It's old, and it does just enough for me to be able to do the show on Sundays with you. But listen, here's what I know. What I know about the teenage generation of today.
Because you deal with them, right? You were actually a recruiter. Not only did you serve a fine country, but you're also a recruiter at some point too, weren't you?
I was. And what I know is that the mindset has changed, especially from when you were growing up in the early the 80s. First of all, in your day there would be no cameras around.
That's true. That's true.
The athlete would probably be able to speak his mind a little bit more. And props to Cam for keeping us cool.
Yep.
Throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Not making an ass of himself. Because that would have been the story. If he would have retaliated on that kid in even with words.
Yes.
That would have been, it wouldn't have been about this kid being rude and disrespectful to Cam Newton. It would have been about Cam Newton talking down to a child, Absolutely. A teenage kid who has feelings and all this other nonsense, right? Here's the deal, though. Here's the problem with today's younger generation. They're ungrateful. They think that people owe them something, when in reality, they don't. Especially if it's a camp that Cam Newton put together for these guys to be able to, pursue their goals of playing football and whatnot, and keep them off the streets and keep them out of trouble. And for you to, like you said, slap him in the face, that to me shows a very, that kid's very ungrateful. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that was an apology that was made for him, and somebody made, and almost a copy and paste type thing. Because, and I'm not insulting the kid's intelligence. What I'm saying is that, like you said, it just doesn't match what we believe.
Right.
Is what I mean? Because I think it does have to do with parents, because even parents now teach their kids, speak your mind. Don't take crap from anybody. Yeah. And you go get what you want. And that is true. Go get what you want, but you do it in a way that shows that you're eager to learn, and you're willing to take mentorship, you're willing to take advice from people, and not, no, you do it your own way, like they've got life figured out. Right. How fast people forget the struggles that they went through. Look, and that's the dream of all parents, right? I know you having your daughter, you want her to have a better life than a better life for herself than the life that you've had. Right. That's the ultimate goal for every parent. They want them to have a better life than you did. So, but you're not going to do that. You're not going to set your child up for success in that by teaching them that people owe them something.
Right.
That life owes them just because they go to school every day, or because they showed up to a camp. And now you owe me. Like, nah, Jack, I don't care what era you're in. It doesn't work that way. Right. You at 15 or however old that kid is, he doesn't have life figured out.
No.
Okay. And he better be careful, because, if he continues the behavior that way, nobody's going to do any favors for him.
And he is at that age. Okay. He's only 2 years shorter than what we're talking about when LeBron James had freaking cameras at a high school game, ESPN there, and everybody thinks that they're LeBron at that age. I mean, they listen, I'm telling you, I've seen, they think their shit don't stink. I'm telling you that this is a common thing of kids. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like them very much. And so inadvertently, this is almost LeBron James's fault because of that. It's what I call the look at me era, because of TikTok and because of YouTube and because of all these other. It's not about dealing with people on a one-on-one. It's dealing with the social media more than anything. People don't deal with things face to face. They deal with it on social media, and all this is a progressive that I almost take back, and not to always blame LeBron James, because all the attention that he got was not because of him per se, of his attitude, it was because of his talent, but how it blew up. That was ESPN's fault. That was his parents' fault. That was everybody who was involved to let that happen. Which in turn, I can almost take the entitlement generation and almost take it back to ESPN cameras at a high school basketball game where they really had no business at. And this is hey, Cuervo, this is what they see. This is what they see. Now, part of Cam, that's but at the same time, that kid doesn't think the same about Cam Newton as I do. And there's a teaching moment that you're absolutely right. Cam Newton, listen, people jumped on this guy for when he lost the Super Bowl. He said, screw this. I'm done with this. I'm walking out of this thing. And who was the one that defended? Sonny Clark. I defended him. He had people talking over him. Of course, the whole thing was a bad situation anyway. If you remember back when Cam Newton was being interviewed after he lost the game, he had people talking back around, and it was in reality he saw it, and I saw it as disrespect as well, and talking over him while he was doing his interviews and stuff like that. And he said, you know what? I put in a little time. Screw this. I'm out of here. And everybody jumped down Cam Newton. So I think I was one of the only ones. Well, I think you defended him too, but I defended him on that because emotions are high at the end of a game, which is the reason why they should not have anybody as far as media talking to them unless it's 2 hours after the game. So
I don't remember that happening, Sonny. So what you're saying is after the Super Bowl, after Carolina lost,
yes,
he's trying to do a press conference and people are talking over him.
That was because of the setup of where it was. And so he was being interviewed by some media, some other people that were being interviewed by media. He felt they were talking louder that was going over him. And he saw it as disrespect, which I did too, because listen, you can talk to these media guys without getting loud. I mean, you see it in the locker room all day long when they're pissed off, they're talking low, right? So, I mean, it's not like they don't have a camera or a microphone that's only this far away from his face. So there was a lot, and people jumped on his case. And it was 2015, if I'm not mistaken, is when they were in the Super Bowl. And when this whole thing went out and it happened, and he said, after the whole thing, he walked off, and I saw the disrespect. And then I think that's part of learning and growing as far as quote unquote professionalism. But when you looked at Cam Newton, what he just got done doing, you understood it. When you see this kid doing what he did to Cam Newton, you can't understand that. None of this makes very much sense. Why this kid is doing this? You can get it where it's coming from as far as Cam Newton is concerned. The only difference is instead of microphones in this kid's face, it was cameras in his face, TikTok, YouTube, and everything else. And it instead of just hitting just a few people, it hit millions of people. So and kids are learning more so than learning a lesson. More so, they're every kid's dream right now. Every kid's dream outside of what they really want to do in life is to be, for some reason, become viral. Attention on me. And by God, he surely got it. And that's the way he was. He wanted that. And you can tell. Just his communication back and forth, you can tell that's what he wanted. I mean, and he's saying he's in the part that I don't know how much of you see or could get through buffering. He's like, you're watching. He's telling this guy, he's telling Cam Newton, okay, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback wins the MVP, that he sucks. He's out of a job. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You're not nothing. You're not doing. And Cam Newton's like, listen, I'm rich, dude. I mean, and that's what this camp is. I'm rich. I brought this to you, and it was such a bad story, Cuervo.
It almost feels like a setup.
On top of it, and I'm actually proud of him.
I almost feel like it was a setup, and I say that in the sense, in the sense of, he knew. The kid probably knew that people were recording, and so he was like, "Oh, this is my time I'm gonna try and punk Cam Newton. I'm gonna punk him, and because he's an NFL quarterback, and I'm gonna show him who I am and what I'm made of, and probably not even thinking about or even realizing that camp that you're in right now, dude, is because of Cam Newton. And you know what? And honestly, that's why there's probably some celebrities out there or famous athletes that don't want to do things for because kids now they don't appreciate the stuff. They don't appreciate it.
Now, I did hear that kicker from the Indianapolis Colts say he hates it. Huh?
Blankenship?
No, the old one. He does No, Pat
McAfee. Oh, his podcast is great.
I heard pieces of that, and he straight out, he said he don't like doing it because of that. So listen, this is something that's happening all over the place, and it can be learned right now. That video going viral could be the thing that can teach every kid that walks into a place like that is set up by Cam Newton. He spent millions of dollars doing what he's doing. He just didn't do it in his own he does it all over the country, for God's sake. And if anything that could be learned, it could be that. And where I wanted to see Jay Smith step up is to put something out in a video and saying, guys, this is what I did because, and I just wanted to see him do something, then write down some words on a text thing, however the hell he did it. And more so I wanted to see his face. More so I wanted to see what he was going to do. More so I wanted to see what he could say to other people, other kids his age. Listen, guys, you may not realize it, but this. In other words, learn about Cam Newton. Learn about the camp. Learn about what it takes to do it, why it happens, and why he should respect it. And we didn't get that.
And that's why I think the apology is garbage. It's crap. It was done on an iPhone. I know how he did it because that's just you've seen athletes do it.
He talked it, Cuervo. He pushed the microphone and he talked it. He didn't even. It wasn't even typed. He pushed the microphone on the phone and it was a text or speak to text thing is what it was, because you can tell by the words. If you look at the top part, first and foremost. Okay, listen. I don't know if the kid's smart enough to know. First and foremost, but it's not spelled that way. Even Sonny knows that, and I'm an idiot. But
very true.
So that's exactly how and you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, I think it was a quick. Just I got to get something out because and probably because somebody told him to do it. But I just
that's how I felt right there after I saw this.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Shout out to Bryce for that. Shout out to Bryce for that image right there. But who helped create that moment?
Yeah,
I did.
Yes, you did. Yeah, forever right there.
Oh. But no, I mean honestly, like, I just think it wasn't very sincere. He was probably forced to do it. He's probably told to do it, and
it was way too easy for him, Cuervo. I watched that footage over and over. I watched it at least 10 times. It was so easy for him to do. And it's that easy. It's like me. I'll tell you what. It's like me at my work at U-Haul, okay? No one's going to say Sonny Clark doesn't know a contract at U-Haul because I do it the same way over and over and over and over, and it doesn't change. Guess what? That was so easy. And for me to do a U-Haul contract is easy for me to do. Not even thinking about it, I could do it. That's what this kid did. He wasn't even thinking about it. It was so easy for it to roll off of it. It was so easy for him to do it. And not only that, that's a learned behavior, Cuervo. That's just something that you don't come out of the womb being. That's a learned behavior. You either do it or you get bitch slapped for doing it. And that's the reason why it's so easy for him to do. It was a bad state of affairs. And here's my hope. And it won't happen. But here's my hope. My hope is that he gets on a video and says, listen, guys, you don't realize what it took for Cam to do this. He did do this and this and this. And he just didn't do it for this community. He does it all over the country. And look at all the money he spends. And he doesn't do it because he has to. He does it because he wants to. Listen, let me just rephrase that. He can say that. We all know Cam Newton doesn't necessarily want to be there. Listen, I can tell you right now, I don't think he wanted to be there, but it's a dedication that he had to what he did, whether it be for his neighborhood or just for the youth of the world to go there. And again, that's the reason why I'm proud of him is because, like you said, he didn't go off on this kid. He said, where's your dad? Where's your dad? Let me talk to your dad, because that, for him, whoop, I dropped this. For him to, keep going on with the kid, that would, like you said, that would have been the story more so than the teaching moment that he was trying to give to the kids. It's
yeah, and you know what? Even if I'm not even going to talk about the father, because here's what I would say. I would say shame on the coaches.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, not necessarily allowing it, but tolerating it. And if you notice at the end of the second video, the coach almost seemed as if he was defending the kid.
Yes.
Like, what? Really?
Which is the reason why I wanted that coach bitch slap. Part of the problem, like I said, you go back to Cuervo. You go back to 1983, 1984 when I was there. Like I said, they would have kicked me off the team. Not only that, coach would have slapped the piss out of me. And that's the difference between today's age. When you were part of a sports group in high school, you let the coaches do what they did. And if your kid needed to get walloped upside the head, you allowed it and you accepted it, and because it was what was needed. Now, granted, that's not necessary. I guess I got to be politically correct and say you really shouldn't do that. But man, sometimes getting your head smacked upside the head, go, oh shit, that's right, I'm not in charge here, or my opinion really means nothing. Sometimes they need to come to Jesus, and sometimes it comes in the form of getting your ears popped. I don't know how many times I playing football. I don't know how many times I had my head popped. Probably the reason why I messed up today. But hey, but a come to Jesus every once in a while is not bad for a kid. So I was hoping this come to Jesus would be, full circling this whole thing and seeing what it took for Cam Newton to do that. And not only Cam Newton, but like you said, there were more people there, big stars taking time out of their day where they could have been sitting at home watching cartoons, or whatever, athletes do, playing their video games. They took the time out of their day to go there for them. So, yeah, bad story, horrible story, but it is what it is. By the way, all right, so on to sports, unless there was something else you wanted to say about it.
No. I mean, I just think that, he's lucky Cam was so cool about it.
Yes.
If it would have been a different type player, if it would have been like, a guy that's more known for, grabbing somebody up and kinda, maybe. Hey. Maybe Tyrann Mathieu would have been that guy that would have grabbed him by
what the hell did you just say?
Exactly.
Because that's what my coach would have done. By the way, guys, that's the way it would have played out if my coach was there. My coach would have grabbed. What did you just do? But the difference between 1986 or 84 and 83 to today.
Yeah, you get thrown in jail for a year now for something like that.
And or, by the way, kicked off the team and not invited back the next year if you were eligible. And that kind of, it wouldn't have been tolerated. And that's, it is what it is. By the way, all right, so that being said, right there, bam, Cuervo. My question, when you see that now this was last week, that's not breaking news, it's just a picture I got. Is he the best quarterback in the AFC North, Cuervo?
In the NFC North right now?
Sorry, AFC North, yeah.
Or an AFC North, yeah. God, you got me on that one.
Myself.
No, he's not. He's not. I would say second best, but he's not the best.
Who's the best?
Lamar Jackson. I know you throw open your mouth to hear that, and you want to give me the monkey, so go right ahead, give me.
You said Lamar Jackson. Is that I don't know. Quite
Real dumb.
Yeah,
Keeping it real.
Are you real dumb? Or are you keeping it real? Are you serious? Are you telling me that you think Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger?
Right now, yes. Right now, today, yes. And that.
You're fired.
All right, well, guys, it's been fun over the past 11 years. Sonny, good luck. Good luck finding a new co-host.
11 years now. Oh, Lord.
Okay, I'm back.
Joe Burrow.
Too young.
What's that fool in Cleveland? What's his name again?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Hasn't done it. Well, believe it or not, Lamar Jackson's had more playoff success than Baker Mayfield. So
no, that's true. That's true. He made at least the two of the, and got booted out the first two, but he did it in his first year. So, and I can't stand people. And listen, I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan. I can't stand people that criticize him for not winning playoff games. After his first and second year, they're lucky he didn't freaking be there. Never mind win one. But yeah, maybe this is the old school in me. Listen, if I'm going to start the season with a quarterback, I'm going to take Ben Roethlisberger, and I'm going to tell you the reason. Okay. I get how old he is. Don't get me wrong. I get that. This guy last year, I think he's got something to prove. I mean, that last year was a wasted opportunity. Wasted opportunity. Now, granted, you can say whatever you want about the winning streak. It was there. Okay, that was a wasted.
Hey, Sonny,
yes.
I'm gonna have to. I'll get back on with you on the phone though. So I'm gonna get off my laptop. And I'll log back on with the phone, but it's time for me to go get the high and tight.
The high and tight. So we'll get Cuervo back here in just a moment. But and I'll continue on, and we'll see you back when you get back into the car. So that being said, guys, if I'm going to start a season in the NFL with either Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, or Big Ben. I'm starting the season off with Big Ben. And I don't know. It's the old school method. Experience means everything in this league. And if you have a successful experience, it means everything in this league. It really does. Now, granted, that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't recognize that Big Ben has not been Big Ben-ish. I get it. Big Ben has not been Big Ben-ish. But what I do understand, and I could be wrong, but when someone tells me in reality Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Big Ben.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
It is completely and utterly blasphemy. And I don't know. I've been accused of being so old school that I can't see new school. But Lamar Jackson does not throw for an average 200 yards a game. His average is like 180, 185, somewhere in there. And it's not good enough. NFL quarterbacks on a consistent level that are good football players throw for 225 yards or more. And it's undisputable. And if you want to try to dispute it to me, give me a message. But it's undisputable. When you're a damn good quarterback, you average 225 yards a game or more. And you're not getting that with Lamar Jackson. I get what he's saying. But let's be honest. Do you want a Lamar Jackson or do you want someone that will lead your football team? Listen, Big Ben is not the young guy. I get it. But if there's anybody that's going to excite, at least within that division of football, Big Ben is going to be able to maybe not bring you the excitement that Lamar Jackson would be able to bring to you, but he's surely going to bring something. And I think it'll be more. Say whatever you want. And sometimes these old cats, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, listen, you guys, I've heard all kinds of nonsense.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
That Drew Brees just can't play this game anymore. The nonsense.
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
It's insanity. But that's where we are today. But Big Ben, Lamar Jackson, in a playoff game, who am I taking? And that's obviously based on the personnel. We were just talking about it earlier in the show. They don't have anybody for him to throw the football to. So why would I want that? I want a guy that can maybe do something with what he has. And that's with what he has, not what he had, that he's got. It's what he has on that football team that he can figure out, whether it's Juju or anybody. Experience is there, and it means, and maybe it's an old school thing. Listen, I've been criticized a lot. Sonny, you're just thinking way too old school. Sometimes thinking old school is the right way of thinking about. Sometimes it's not. But listen, I'm not taking Lamar Jackson this year over Big Ben Roethlisberger. 2 years in 2 Super Bowls, been to 4. Come on, really? Who's going to go to the Hall of Fame? Big Ben. So I don't know. I don't know if that is anything that you could really get behind, as far as saying that Big Ben. Now, granted, the Big Ben thing has had to take the pay cut and everything else. So Big Ben don't have to take a pay cut for nothing if he don't want to. He's going to get that. He's going to get that money. That money was his, regardless if he played or not. That money was his. And granted, maybe he wouldn't have been in Pittsburgh, but he would have got that money. And there have been many teams out there that would have taken him. And I get it that you'd want a Lamar Jackson for 3 or 4 years, but not next year. Not even after last year, what happened in that and where that potential went away from. Not only that, against the team that you lost to. That's another thing. It's simple enough. Now, I don't know if Pittsburgh that thinks that Rudolph is their guy, but I don't think it is. Rudolph will not get him to the playoffs. If he started all 16 games there, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not making the playoffs. Now, I did say, and I mean it, if Baltimore goes get that guy, that number one, that big splash guy, not A.J. Green, but a guy that makes the big splash, yeah, I think Baltimore's going to be in the Super Bowl. But Baltimore doesn't seem to be wanting to do that, so that's something else up on top of it. So I don't know. I think Big Ben's the better quarterback out of those 4. I take him every day, twice on Sunday. And if I needed a win, I definitely take Big Ben. And it's not me not recognizing who Lamar Jackson is. Hell, I've already acknowledged that he'd be there. But it would be the first year that he would probably average the 225 yards a game that he would need to be a good quarterback on a consistent level. He doesn't do that. And listen, Lamar Jackson is a star. I'm not going to say he's not. And I'm going to prove my point here. I'm going to put something in here. Here we go, right there. Bang. And hit that. Got to find this because there it is. That's the right page. All right. So, guys, I want you to think about this, okay? And I need to hit this, and then I'm going to make my point. Bear with me here. Normally I have Cuervo to fill in for me, but I don't. All right, so hit that. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at where I need to be. All right, so Lamar Jackson, 3 years, Okay, 3 years. He's got 7,085 yards passing. Okay, 7,000. Divide that by 37. That's how many games that he has played in. Okay, he's not even averaging 200 yards passing. And I said 225. It makes a difference. From 191 to 2, that's 35 yards, and that's a big play down the field somewhere. Not getting it. So, in the AFC North, I think it is that. So look out for that. And I think I want to shoot this back. I want to go back to this because the Chicago Bears are in a very unique place for an Alex Smith. Alex Smith should be the most foresought backup quarterback in the NFL today. Just because of his balls of steel. Never forget the stats. I mean, people are so stupid. They'll get up on these boards, say, oh, look at his stats. Has nothing. When you talk this game, when you talk Aaron Rodgers, when you talk about a guy that can take over a game in case of injury, right now, there's no better backup quarterback in the NFL than Alex Smith because of the way he plays. The way he plays is a guy that doesn't go out there and make too many mistakes. He won't take that big chance down. He's known as Captain Checkdown for a reason. Any team out in the NFL right now should be after Alex Smith. You need a backup quarterback, I'm telling you right now. And I might even pay him, depending on, obviously, your quarterback. I mean, if your quarterback has got an injury problem, now I'm not saying that Alex Smith doesn't have an injury problem, but I'm telling you right now, he's the reason why the Washington Redskins made the playoffs. I wish he would have got a chance to play in that playoff game. That, to me, is sad. To me, that's sad. I don't know. But I got something else on Cam Newton that we're going to talk about when Cuervo gets back. So I'm going to bypass that. But I want to go to some other news. I only have two more things, so hopefully you'll get back. But, of course, and I'm going to save the best for last. But I'm going to go to the Jimmy Garoppolo story right now. According to what this is coming from, this is Greg Bedford on the Patriots podcast. Now, he's kind of like an insider, but not necessarily a quote-unquote official insider, but enough to where people respect what he says. He said Jimmy G is far and away New England's plan A at quarterback this offseason. Now, what I know about this guy, and I do know a little bit about him, not Jimmy G, but I'm talking about Greg Bedford. This guy knows the Patriots. This guy knows the in and outs of that football team. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he says that they're trying to get Jimmy G, they're trying to get Jimmy G. Now, is it a match made in heaven for them to get back to it? That just all depends on what you think about the Patriots. Are the Patriots contenders or are they pretenders? Are they a football? Are they a football team that has the opportunity to get back to the AFC East title, which is the best way for them to make the playoffs? Winning that division of football. I'm going to tell you right. Hey, Buffalo's the real deal, guys. And listen, you saw what, listen, no disrespect. Cam Newton is not that fit. And it's not because, and I'll even say it, and Brian Tarvin's going to disagree with me, by the way. But it's not because that Cam Newton doesn't have the goods and can't get the job done. He just can't get it done in New England because that is not the game that they play. Cam Newton at that quarterback, that is not that offense. He is not the guy that does that for them. Good, bad, or indifferent. It is what it is. Jimmy G, I don't know as far as San Francisco is concerned if that was ever a good pick for them. Always kind of wanted it because I'm a Jimmy G fan per se. Not that I thought he would take over for Tom Brady and be, God great, the next football god in New England. I never thought that, but I always thought he could be great. And all you got to do is go back to Matt Castle. I think he was better than Matt Castle. You want to talk about getting paid? Matt Castle got paid. Got paid more than Tom Brady, by the way. So think about the love affair that could happen again. And here's my thinking about the reunion in New England. I don't see it. He's not a coach where you can bring the offensive coach back, and this is a quarterback. And obviously injuries are a problem for this guy, which they were a problem when he was there. I don't see it as a fit, but I go back to this guy that's reporting this. This guy, listen, that podcast is not just like me doing this. It's actually kind of like sponsored and okayed by the Patriots. So they know who he is, Jenny. So good, bad, or indifferent, it is a story. And that's going to be something to watch for. So watch where Jimmy G lands. Does he stay in San Francisco? If they're smart, they would. Does he end up someplace else? I mean, rumors are flying all around that he could end up in Houston. But some of the things that are also being talked about is this: that the Carolina Panthers are thinking about selling the farm. I'm selling the farm. It's not just McCaffrey. They're willing to give up all kinds of stuff to get Deshaun Jackson. I don't know. I mean, if Russell Wilson's available, if I was going to do it, maybe I'd do that. But Deshaun Watson, this is a real thing. I can't believe that I'm hearing of it, and I can't believe that the Panthers are willing to give up the farm to get a Deshaun Watson. I know Cuervo's got some mad love, but I think he even think some of the reports that are coming out as far as what the Panthers are going to do to try to get Deshaun Watson, he would even say it's nuts. I might be wrong, but I'm saying it's nuts. Right now, where the Panthers are, how many times do you got a running back that can be an impact player? You want to give up that guy for a guy that might not be able to get the job done at the quarterback position, but you got a guy getting it done at the running back position. And listen, you're already committed to him. Why don't you go get a guy that complements that game? That's Russell Wilson, guys. I'm telling you right now, if the Panthers were going to do something, they figure out a way to keep Christian McCaffrey and then go ahead and get Russell Wilson. I don't know if the numbers mix and all this other crap, but I'm telling you right now, if they're going to give up the ghost, and if there's a way they can keep McCaffrey and give up the ghost and send it over to Houston, listen, Houston is not going to be in contention for any playoff spot next year. Right now, the Titans are the one that are in full command of that division of football. And the Colts are going to be a team to reckon with. And depending on what Urban Meyer does in Jacksonville, that is still something that could end up happening. But you need a guy if you're the Panthers. Say whatever you want. And if you believe that Drew Brees can't play crap anymore, let's say he can play, but if he can't, do you want Deshaun Watson to be in that division to try to beat Tom Brady? If you're going to give up Christian McCaffrey, you better give Russell Wilson. Right now, Russell Wilson is the guy that can be got. Good, bad, or indifferent, it just is. And I could be wrong, and quite often I am. But you saw those teams that people were going after, or quarterbacks that were going after. And listen, Carolina is on the run for one of them, and they're nowhere on this list except for Jimmy Garoppolo. And frankly, they should be on the list. And they're probably not on the list because I don't know if Russell Wilson would want to go there. And that just all depends. I don't know. But if you're the Panthers, understand something. You got to figure out a way to get around the Saints, who usually end up winning that division, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that's going to have Tom Brady back trying to defend a Super Bowl, or in the South, the Atlanta Falcons. I find it very interesting that the Atlanta Falcons are not on this list anywhere for these top five. Unbelievable. But if you're the Panthers, Jimmy Garoppolo is the only answer. And that is probably because of the fit that he would make with the coach, the new coach that's down there. But, man, give me Russell Wilson. You're going to give up Christian McCaffrey. Damn it, get Russell Wilson. Don't – listen, Deshaun Watson is a good player. But Deshaun Watson, in reality, is not a guy that you want to pin to your coattails. You don't want this guy to be your guy. Because whenever I think about Deshaun Watson, I don't think about a winner. I think about Deshaun Watson. That's what I ask myself. Divisions of football with teams that are out there trying to get better at the quarterback position. All teams, Carolina and Atlanta should be breaking their neck. Breaking their neck to get Russell Wilson. I don't know why he wouldn't want to go to Atlanta, Russell Wilson. I don't know why he wouldn't want to go to Atlanta. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. You want to talk about guys that he could throw the football to? Holy stuff. Now, again, I don't know how the numbers work on all that crap. I'm just saying. Russell Wilson should be, if you're a team that is looking and you're going to sell the farm, i.e. the Carolina Panthers, it's not to get Deshaun Watson. It should be to get to Russell Wilson. If you're going to get rid of Christian McCaffrey, you need Russell Wilson. Forget Deshaun Watson. I'm going to tell you, it's hard to find a running back that can be a guy that can be relevant at the running back position. There are only so many of them right now in today's NFL. I get that it's hard to find a quarterback. I get it. Completely understand it. But I think it almost might be harder to find a running back that can handle the load. I mean, not all of them are going to be the guy in Tennessee, Henry. They're not going to all be Henry. But Christian McCaffrey is. I don't know. I'd like to see where that ends up. And if it ends up somewhere, it should be interesting to see where it goes. So, guys, that's about all I have. You could have come up with more. Not sure that I know what the problem is. It's the reception of Cuervo within the first 12 miles away from his house. that's not good. So, but that's all I had up on board. I have one more thing about Cam Newton. I'll talk to Cuervo about it because I thought it was really interesting. I'll leave you with it, and give you a week to talk about it. Maybe I can find some time to get Cuervo up online to talk about this again. I don't know where he's going to be. But watch this. And we'll end with this, by the way. This is Cam Newton. Is talking in a roundtable with Ocho Cinco, Fred Taylor, and the guy who shot himself, that wide receiver for the Giants. His name's slipped my mind. But this is that take. It's a roundtable with those three and Cam Newton. We'll end on this, and we'll talk about this next time we're up on here.
Have said that they said your arm strength isn't what it's supposed to be.
Retirement is not off the table.
Retirement isn't off the. So I'm asking you right here, right now, on I'm Athlete. Let us hear it, but the people gonna hear it too.
Hell, no. You can't. I can't go out like that.
No timetable.
No, I can't go out like that.
Till the wheels fall off.
No, it's not even till the wheels fall off. I can't go out like that. You arm strength? Come on, man. Somebody just played and he's 43.
I love you.
Can't you feel like you can still do it? You still Superman. It's my turn to talk? Hell yeah. What do you think? Is that, I'm not, going into last year, is he healthy? I just want to finish healthy. Now it's like if I'm able to learn his system, come on, bro, I can't go out like that. My pride won't even allow me to do that. And you could talk about this, you could talk about that, you could talk about whatever. Listen, bro, there's not 32 guys better than me. Put it like that. So you're asking me, bro, I'm not 32. Real talk. I'm when you put it like that, bro, I'm not the 32 worst. Come on, man.
Top 10, and that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb.
You know what I'm saying?
He top 10?
But
easy.
No. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that.
It ain't about what you deserve. It's what you've done, and you top 10.
Listen. There are certain things that, and the topic is what the topic is. I'm not done, bro. Yeah. And whether it's just a matter of time.